It is nearly 40,000 years ago, and you are crouched beside a dying fire. Somewhere past the tree lean, something is watching you. Two eyes catch the firelight, low to the ground, unmoving. You know exactly what it is. A wolf, the deadliest hunter on the continent, close enough to smell your fear. Every instinct tells you to grab your spear. But somehow, tonight, it does not attack. It simply waits, at the edge of the light, watching you eat. That single decision, made by one nameless wolf on one forgotten night, changed the future of our entire species. Because that wolf's descendants are not out there in the dark anymore. They're asleep on your couch right now. Somewhere in your home or your neighbor's, there is an animal directly descended from an Ice Age apex predator. Not a lion. Not a bear. Not a saber-toothed cat. A wolf. Out of every terrifying predator roaming the ancient world, our ancestors formed an alliance with the one most capable of killing them. And the strangest part is this: we may not have chosen that wolf at all. It might have chosen us, and the proof is buried in a cave in England. In 2024, scientists pulled ancient DNA from a jawbone in Gough's Cave. 14,300 years old, and unmistakably, genetically, a dog. Not a wolf that looked friendly. An actual, confirmed dog. Now here's where it gets strange. At the exact same time, on the opposite side of Europe, in a place called Pınarbaşı in modern-day Turkey, researchers found another one. 15,800 years old. Two dogs, thousands of miles apart, both already fully formed. Which tells you something important: this was not the beginning of the story. By the time these two animals died, dogs had already spread across an entire continent. So when did this actually start? Some genetic evidence pushes the true split between wolf and proto-dog back to 23,000 years ago. Other fossil evidence, found in Belgium, Siberia, and the Czech Republic, hints it could be as old as 36,000 years. And here is the detail that should genuinely stop you. At every single one of those dates, agriculture did not exist yet. No farms, no villages, no grain stores to bribe an animal with. Every other creature we ever domesticated, cattle, sheep, goats, chickens, came after we built farms. Dogs are the only exception in the entire history of domestication. We tamed the wolf while we were still homeless, wandering hunters with nothing to offer but firelight and scraps. So here's the real mystery. How do you tame an apex predator with literally nothing to bargain with? The answer, according to the leading theory in modern science, is that we didn't. Researcher Brian Hare at Duke University calls it survival of the friendliest. And the theory is unsettling in the best way. It says the wolf domesticated itself. Picture an Ice Age hunting camp, littered with bone, fat, and discarded meat. Most wolves stayed far away, terrified of the two-legged predators nearby. But every once in a while, one was born just slightly bolder. Slightly less afraid. That wolf crept a little closer to the trash heap and got an easy meal without the danger of chasing down an elk. It survived better. It had more pups. And those pups inherited that same calmness. Generation after generation, nature did the choosing, not us. Humans simply killed the aggressive ones that got too close and let the calm ones linger at the edges. In other words, the wolves that got picked were the ones who picked themselves. This channel exists to dig up exactly this kind of evidence, the real science behind how ancient humans actually lived, not the campfire legend version. If getting the history right, and not the sanitized version, matters to you, subscribing means you will see the next one the moment it drops. Because the next twist is even stranger than this one. In 2025, researchers tested whether survival of the friendliest was even mathematically possible. They built a computer model of wolves scavenging near camps, choosing mates with similarly calm temperaments. In more than a third of their simulations, a stable, tame population emerged in a median of around 8,000 years. Well within the 15,000-year window the fossils demand. The math held up. But this still leaves the biggest question untouched. Ice Age Eurasia was crawling with terrifying predators, cave lions, cave bears, hyenas, even other species of wolf that no longer exist. So why did none of those cross over? Why only the wolf? The answer lies in something almost no other apex predator on that list had: a family structure that looked eerily like our own. Wolves live in cooperative packs, built around a breeding pair, shared parenting, and a working hierarchy. They hunt together, they read each other's body language, and they defer to leadership within the group. A cave lion has no concept of taking orders from anyone. A wolf already understands what a leader is because it grew up inside a family that had one. It just had to accept a slightly different pack, one that occasionally stood upright and carried spears. That single trait, sociability, may be the real reason a wolf crossed a line no bear or big cat ever could. Of course, not every scientist agrees this was quite so peaceful. Critics point out a real problem: wild apex predators do not casually stroll up to humans. In almost every recorded case, wolves fear people, for very good reason. We have hunted them for tens of thousands of years. So some researchers argue humans played a far more active role than the scavenger theory suggests, deliberately raising pups by hand. There is also no agreement on where this happened. Siberia, the Middle East, Western Europe, genetic evidence has pointed at all three, sometimes in the same study. Some scientists now suspect it happened more than once, in different places, at different times. And here is a detail that almost never makes it into the story. The wolves that became dogs are not the ancestors of any wolf alive today. That entire original population is extinct. A genetic dead end that left behind exactly one legacy: every dog on Earth. Which means the animal asleep on your floor tonight is not descended from the wolf at your local zoo. It is descended from a ghost population that vanished from the wild completely and survived only by attaching itself to us. So the true story is not that humans tamed the wild. It is that something wild took one enormous risk, walked toward the fire instead of away from it, and bet its entire future on a stranger. Every other apex predator on that Ice Age list chose distance and stayed wild, and many of those bloodlines are gone today. The wolf chose closeness, and it became the most successful large carnivore lineage in the history of the planet, counted now in the billions. So tonight, if there's a dog curled up near you, look at it differently for a second. That is not a tamed beast. That is the descendant of the one predator on Earth that looked at humanity and decided we were worth the risk. So here's what I'm actually curious about. If you'd been standing at that fire 40,000 years ago and a wolf stepped out of the dark, would you have reached for your spear or your food?